Happy Sabbath Church.
Happy Sabbath.
It is my privilege to be here in front. Well, let me start with story. A couple of weeks ago, this movie called Lazing Chada got released. I don't know if anybody knows Amir Khan.
Yeah.
Does any? Yes. Tom Hanks. Yes. Yeah. So both happen to be my favorite actors. So this Lazing Chada, Amir Khan is supposed to play the role of first Crump, and I was so excited. I said to Spase, this movie has released and it's gonna be shown in the cinema near us. So can I please go? But then the timing was quite late, so it was about 6:45 in the evening, and Spasi was like, ooh, okay. And I would be going myself because there's nobody to go with me, and Spasi has to look after the kids. And Spasi was like, oh, I think it might be a little too late, so we might look for, afternoon show or something. And there was no any afternoon show because the Bollywood movies apparently has like quite late shows and only one or two. So, and I said, well, I'm sure kids will be fine. I'll just go and watch movie. I think it's gonna start about 7 o'clock and then 2 hours. By 9 and 9:30, I should be back home. It should be absolutely fine, and I'll make sure I come by taxi and it's gonna be all well. And I was so excited, and Swasi was like, okay, yeah, you just go and enjoy yourself. And I went. And I arrived there early, and then I went inside. There was literally no one. No one. I was on my own, and I was so scared. I was like, shall I continue? Shall I stay? Or shall I just go? And I thought, okay, well, it's at least not a horror show. It's not a horror movie or something. So I'll just try. I'll just see, let's see what's gonna happen. And then after like 5 minutes or so, this voice comes in. Like 1 and 2 walks in, 3, 4, 5. They happen to be friends, looks like, with big earrings and rough, with rough clothes. And I was like, I think I'm just gonna have to leave now. And they sat in front of me, like just front row. And then suddenly they just decided and they wanted to sit the back row, just right back. And I was thinking, what are they up to? Is it safe for me to be there? And my concentration was totally focused, and I was like, what are they talking about? Is there anything that they will say that would be not safe for me? And I would just, but after like 5 minutes of observing, like trying to think if I'm gonna be safe, it felt safe. They were okay. They were all right. They were good guys. So I watched the movie. It was a really lovely movie. And then, but then it extended. Like I checked the time. It was 10 o'clock, and I called the taxi driver. And this taxi, I think among all the taxi drivers we had so far, I think he was the one that I would be hesitant a little bit because the last conversation that we had with this taxi driver was a little bit heated because he realized that we were Christians, and he was a very strict Muslim with the little hat on the top, and during Ramadan I think it was quite difficult for him to hear anything about Christianity or something like that, and he was not happy about a few things, and so the conversation ended a little bit like rough, not rough, but it wasn't as smooth. And this guy sees me, and then he was like, oh, okay, yeah, and then he wanted to pick it up the conversation that we left it. And this movie was socioeconomic, politically, all the spaced issues, and I was like, this is the last thing I want to have is the argument with this guy, and I'm alone on my own, And he kept on trying to talk about, religion upon religion, and I was trying to divert his attention to politics, like, oh, what, this is going to be election, and what do you think about it? But then he was so much focused, and he said, oh, is your husband still talking about, Christianity and things like that? And I said, well, yeah, a little. I just wanted to get home safe. So, yeah, that was it, and and I'm here safe. Thankfully, I'm here safe. So the talk of my today's talk, my today's talk is gonna be you are being watched. Yeah, and do you want to like this? So everyone knows about the story of creation, and good news. God created the heavens and the earth. We were just talking in the children's section earlier. And when God was creating us, I imagined God was thinking in his heart all the time that he wanted to create a perfect family. In family, what happens? Like, not so perfect, but still family. We laugh together. We do life together. We share joys and sadness and everything, and also arguments and things like that as well. But in God's perfection, he wanted to create a perfect family where he would be the center, and where his physical presence is going to be there, where we would be having communion with him every single day. And in his glory, we would receive blessings, and that was his ultimate plan. That was his ultimate plan. But sadly, this didn't happen the way how he wanted, or how it should have, because the perfect being that he created turned their back on him, and they went far away from the presence of God. Very, very far away from the presence of God, and it was very hard for them to turn back and to understand, to realize the real character, the real compassion for us, God's compassion for us. But God, in his mercy, he had a plan, and he came into this world as a form. Even though he was God, he came into this world. And what it says in Matthew chapter 1:23, an angel came to Mary and said, "You shall bear a son, and his name shall be called Emmanuel." In Hebrew word, Emmanuel is called God in flesh. That's an Hebrew word, God in flesh. And God himself came down into this world in flesh form, and he lived among us, and he told us that, guys, my children, I created you. You are supposed to be with me in the same place, family as a family, but you have gone away. But I love you, and I am here to tell you who really I am. So I can take you back home. I can take you back home, because you have made your own gods, and you have heard so many lies about me, but I am here to tell you who really I am. So just if you follow me, you will have eternal life. So he came, and he died at the cross for us, and he purchased us with his blood. And he once again made it possible for us to be one more time, to be his family. Thank you so much, Luke, for the wonderful scripture that you read wonderfully. Just the first half we just missed. His eyes are on the way. Oh, sorry. Yeah, his eyes are on the ways of a man, and he sees all his steps. It's in Job 34 verse 21. And this, he said this scripture. when he was going through such a difficult time, whatever he had was taken away from him. And he is saying that his eyes are on the ways of a man and he sees all his steps. And he also says that in Deuteronomy, I will never leave you nor forsake you, and I am with you always. I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you a story where this text becomes so real, and this is my story. So this is where I grew up. This is my parents, where they are living in Nepal. That's the garden we have, and me and my brother spent our time in playing there and having really fun time. So my dad, he studied his agriculture in Philippines. So he did his specialization in agriculture. So he's really into doing producing stuff and so there's avocado there. Last year they grew like 20 kg. They harvested 20 kg of avocados, and this is persimmon, and that one is grapefruit. This is just the seasonal. My mom just took yesterday, but it's coming. But there are other fruits as well that comes seasonally. So this is me. When I was I think 5 or 6 years old, celebrating my birthday. This really reminds me, almost similar like Jaden. Yeah. Yes. And the other slide, please. So this is me going to school, and that's me with my friends and teacher there. So this is, it's really hard to see. Yeah, so this is me and my dad, and that's my mom, my dad, and my little brother there. I think I was about 15 years or so, 15 years I think or so. I was born in a Hindu family, and I was a semi-practicing Hindu, I think. Because when you're born into family of Hindu or Muslim or wherever, you just adapt to it, and as a good obedient children, you just accept and you just follow it. So that's what I did, in fact I was so scared of with so many idols actually, and they used to give me nightmares. And being a really good mom, she used to, bring first and do some rituals to impress them and not to have, to help with the dreams and things like that. So this priest at the end said, you need to wake up before anyone does, 5 o'clock in the morning, and God as well, or gods as well for them, idols, and so you need to pour holy water and go around it for 7 times, and something like that. So and we have like a little jar where you pour holy water, and then you just go, and then you just pour it around. Yeah, that's what normally they do. And I woke my brother up the next morning. I woke my brother up. He was so sleepy, and I said, "Brother, wake up, because we're gonna have to go. Otherwise, your sister's gonna get nightmares. Come on." And then he was so sleepy, and we went, and we were chased by dogs at the middle, almost like just before sunrise, of course. Dogs were like, and they chased us, and I went home, and my mom said, did you manage to go to the temple and do it, whatever you asked? I said, no, Mom, I barely came home safe with the dogs, so scary. And I used to get nightmares by dogs chasing me at night. So I clearly remember once my mom was so ill. She was working in one hospital. She was a nurse now. She's retired. So one of my mom's friend called me and said, "Oh, your mom is in hospital. She's hospitalized. She's got a very bad headache, severe headache. But don't worry, she's gonna be back soon." So when she was discharged, she came with so many equipments attached in her heart, just to monitor her heart and everything. Her blood pressure just skyrocketed so much. that she just couldn't cope, and it was since then now she's taking blood pressure tablets, but she's fine. At that time I was so worried because my dad wasn't at home, and he went in somewhere in abroad for conference, and I was with my mother, my brother and my mom and myself, just three of us, and I was looking after, I was doing almost everything, washing, cooking, cleaning, 12 years old, you know, and doing all that, plus doing school round for my brother, and getting him ready, and while my mom was resting, I just wanted her to rest, do nothing, and I was trying to cook healthy food, and you know, well, not so tasty though, try my best. And I was so worried for my mom, that I would check every time I would go and I would see her to check if she's breathing or not. You know, is she breathing? Is my mom breathing? And I would go, and then when I see her moving, when she's breathing, obviously we go up and down, and I would be, you know, at least be reassured that's okay, yeah, my mom is breathing. But that was one of the most difficult times of my life, because it was so hard, and I was working so hard, making myself sick, and I was crying every single day, and I didn't show my mom that I'm worried for you or something like that. I would go in another room and I would cry. But during that time, you know, we have like morning and evening rituals in front of the idols, and you just perform whatever you need to do. But you know, that one day I was just staring, and I was just like, who are you? Are you really real? You know, are you the one who created my mom, created me? What is real? What if you are not real? Am I worshipping the fake something? I was asking myself a question about the real, what is life, and all these deep questions I was thinking, and that time I didn't realize that the living God who created me was right next to me, consoling me and trying to comfort me. And I had no idea that my living God was right next to me, trying to help me. So, this is me, my mom, my brother. I think I was about 18 years old, this one. So the time went by, my mom got better, of course. By I was grade 10, I think. I decided, I don't know, there was something going on in my mind that I have to go to UK. I need to go to UK. And my mom was saying, you know, UK is the hardest country to go. Why don't you just go somewhere else? Like, you know, Canada is easier. Australia is a little bit easier. But, you know, UK, why do you want to go to UK? And I had no idea. I said, I need to go to UK, you know. 10th grade, I chose like maths and science, and went on to college, biology, physics, chemistry, maths. I chose a subject because I wanted to go to Med's college, and my mom was planning to send me to Banepa Hospital. I don't know if you know, Anita, your auntie, she worked in Banepa Hospital.
My aunt.
Your auntie? Is it your auntie?
My friend's mom.
Your friend's mom?
Yeah.
Okay. So she told me last time when Luke was getting baptized that she worked in Banepa Hospital.
Oh, yes, that aunt.
Yes.
She has,
Yes.
and my dad has, both of them.
Yeah. I had no idea then that it was Adventist, hospital or anything like that. I had no idea about Christianity. Forget about Adventist. So my mom was saying, you know, okay, you have a choice to go to India if you want to study medicine, or Bangladesh, you know, somewhere near, or even Nepal, Banepa Hospital, because it's really good, you know, to study medicine. And I said, no, Mom, I really want to go to UK. And she said, you know, we can't really afford medicine there, because, you know, I think for home student it was like about 2005. I don't know how much it was for meds. I think it was cheaper than now. Now it's about 10,000 per term or per year, but before I think it's a little bit cheaper. But for international students, like almost 39,000 per year. That's no, you know, it's just too expensive. I said, Mom, I don't know, I just want to go to UK. Just let me go and let's see what happens. And in case if I don't get a visa, then that's absolutely fine. I'll go wherever you want me to go. And my mom was like, okay, it's hard to get visa anyways. So 20 students, among 20 students, there were 2 students who got in, and it was one of them was me. And I said, Mom, I want the visa. So, and I don't know, I just made up my mind to come to UK. And I was reading for university in London. So during that period, I came December, so January to September, I had to be doing something. I can't just not do, you know, there should never be gap as a student visa when you're on student visa. So I decided to go to English, to study some English as a foreign language, and registered myself in Reading, one of the colleges in Reading, and that's where I met Spase. Do you want to come there? So this is me. This is our actually first picture ever. And I mean, who would not fall in love with this guy? You know, he was such a sweet, so sweet, genuinely nice guy, and I'm like, you know, I could spend the rest of my life. He was not, you know, like bad guys trying to take advantage or something like that. He was just so sweet, so genuine, and most of all, look at this. He is so beautiful and handsome. So I just fell in love with him. And it wasn't just like infatuation, you know. It wasn't like, oh no, I'm madly in love with him, you know, like that. It wasn't like that. It was just every time I meet him, it was just so magical, and I just cannot explain how it was. It was just so lovely. And we used to have really, although we came from very different background, Spase from Macedonia, Europe, and I'm from Nepal, Asia, we came together and we just had like really amazing connection, you know, and we were talking about God and about life, and we used to have just very deep conversation about life, and it was just nice, and spending time with him was really amazing, and I thought he was my angel or something that time. Oh yeah. So he was so happy that he found me, and look, he's jumping with joy. Another one. Yeah, so this is Seventh-day Adventist Church in Reading Central, and it's so funny story because Spase was invited by one of his friends called Justinus, and he wasn't Christian himself, but somehow he knew this church. Justinus knew this church, and he said, "Spase, come with me because I don't want to go on my own." So he went in this church, and then after a couple of days, he said, you know, I went with my friend to one church, and it's an interesting church. Would you like to come with me? And then I said, yes, why not? Let's go. When I went there, I was sitting in one of the seats at that side. Yes, I clearly remember. I was looking at people. It was so amazing. It was so amazing because people were, you know, singing and wearing nice clothes, and I have never experienced like that. I've never entered in any churches before. This was my ever first church I've entered, and I was just so fascinated, and I was like, wow, everybody seemed so happy and so cheerful, and wow, and I was just consumed looking at people and everything, you know. And there was a talk, somebody talked about it, you know, but I'm still trying to remember what he talked about, but I don't remember. Maybe it wasn't catching up or something, I don't know. Or I was just occupied, I guess, watching all the people, and I thought it was Seventh-day Adventure. You know, I was Seventh-day Adventure because for me it felt like adventure. And I thought it was Seventh-day Adventure. And then I moved to London. After this, I moved to London, University of Queen Mary University of Queen Mary University College. Yes, that's where I went. Yeah, it was an absolutely cultural shock for me when I moved. We had 9 girls in one flat, and majority were British. Some of them came from Cyprus and Azerbaijan and Russia, but very strong in personality. So nine girls, and what the interesting thing was, every Friday evening hit, they would get themselves dressed, like almost naked, and then and I'm like, where are you guys going? And then they say, oh, we are clubbing. And so what do you do in clubs? And because I've never been clubbing or anything like that. Spase, when I met him, we just spent time and doing things like sharing about life and things. He never took me to clubs or anything, although he was a Christian. Very sweet guy. And sorry. And it was total cultural shock for me. So they say, okay, club, and what do you do in club? Oh, so we drink, boys are there, and have fun and do whatever you like. You're free. It's so nice in there. And I said, okay. I mean, all right. I've got things to do. I would say I have things to do, and my friends used to say, how about tomorrow then? I'm like, okay, so it's tomorrow as well, club? And they say, yes, yeah, tomorrow as well. And the funny thing was, they would come like in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. They would absolutely wreck, totally drunk, corridors full of sick, and in the morning I would think to myself that it doesn't look very fun to me. I mean, and they are sleeping in bed all day after that, and then the next day again they're saying they're getting ready themselves, and then they are saying, and I said, okay, I have something to do, and I went in my room, pretend I'm busy or something. But then they managed to go like Friday and Saturday, but then Sunday on, they are so tired, exhausted. They are so sick. Some of the girls, they would call ambulance because they have headache and pain everywhere. So it was like that was every single week. It went on every single week. But there, I met Noor. Noor, my friend from Malaysia. She was one of the amazing girl I've ever met. She was so lovely and with calm personality, very clever. She was studying mathematics and statistics then, and then she went to do her PhD in Imperial College, and then now she is a professor in Malaysia University in Kuala Lumpur. So she's doing really well. But that time, I used to ask. She was very strict Muslim and very nice girl. 5 times a day she used to pray, and I used to spend quite a lot of my time with her in her room, and I would see her praying, and I asked her, what is prayer, and how do you pray, why do you pray, and everything else. And she used to explain to me, and she used to talk to me about Quran and things like that, so we would have discussion about God. And so when she told me about prayer, and she said, we just give everything to, she said about Allah. And after the prayer, she would always have this, calmness in her face and something lit in her face, and I wanted to experience the same. And I went in my room and I wanted to experience exactly that. So I put sheet on my floor, came and kneeled down. And I even did like this, and I said, whoever you are, to the unknown God, I pray. Just please help me out. You are the one who created me, and you brought me here in this place. I am totally struggling with finances. I am receiving eviction notice from university to leave the accommodation because I couldn't pay for my rent. I am really, really struggling. I'm absolutely amazing. Please help me out. And after the prayer and everything, I did not know that the God who created me, the real God, was actually right next to me trying to comfort me. He was watching me all the time. And every time I pray, I would just receive that comfort, that peace, and actually the God of peace was giving me that peace. Yes, thank you. Would you like to do the next slide? So, Spasi used to come and visit. Sorry. Yeah, Spasi used to come and visit me to university. And we used to explore things around the university and go out exploring in London. Do you want to show another slide? So we would go out exploring, and we were having a nice time. Yeah, it was nice. Never seen London before, obviously, and I wanted to see London Bridge and Tower Bridge, and so this was the first time I've seen, and yeah. So it was really nice time. 2006 back then. This was 2006. So we had I was so wanting to know about prayer and things like that, and when Spasi came around, I asked him about the prayer, and then somebody told him about prayer. It can be found in Proverbs or something. So we opened the book of Proverbs and we read something about prayer, and so we prayed, God, today we would like to go out, take us wherever you want us to go, kind of like prayer, but we didn't know exactly who we were praying for, unknown God. So we took a bus and then went to the London Central, and there were two ways, left or right, and then I said, the guys, lots of people are queuing there, and there's light there as well, so why don't we go and see what's going on? Would you like to? Yeah, so why don't we go and see what's going on? And there were lots of people queuing, and I went and asked, what's going on here? And then and one lady said, the lady at the door said, you are here, right place at the right time. Show just began to happen. We will show you where to sit down. And I was like, oh, how much is it? And she said, no, it's absolutely for free. And I said, this bus is for free, come on, let's go in. So we went in. And I had absolutely no idea. But someone was talking about God. And his name was Jason. You know Jason, right? So he was talking about God, and the way how he spoke about Jesus, and the way how Jesus came and died for our sins, and the examples that he gave, and the way how he explained was so amazing, and it was so captivating. My tears started to run down. I had goosebumping all over me, and I was like, I just want to know Jesus. I really, really do, because he did this to me. If he did this to me, I really want to know who really he is. So I just really wanted to know more about him. And after. Yeah, so these are some of the pictures that we took outside the theater. Not that day, it was some other days, but yeah, this is where the back the theater was. So after I finished my year, I went back to Reading, and Spasi was very protective, and he wanted me to stay in a very good family. He knew this Pakistani family and from a very long time, so he wanted me to stay in their house. So I stayed with them, and he lived like about half an hour away from me. One day we found a church, and it wasn't not very far from where we lived, and we went to 178 Baptist Church. And I'm sorry, but I just could not get anything. It was like, preacher was so excited. I understand his passion, but I just could not really understand what he was trying to. And I felt like I just want to fresh air. I just wanted to come out, because I tried my best, but I think he was talking more on the advanced level that I needed more beginners. I just couldn't understand. But then at the time, we were also going around in very different churches, like Baptist and Methodist, and whichever church we would find, we would just go and sit down. And we have also entered in church like I don't know, church was full. Most of them were, grown-up, elderly people, mature people, I would say. And we walked in, me and Spase Young, and then we were just, oh, what are they doing? And they're like, and we were so scared, we would just run. We would run away from the church. We met so many wonderful friends all over the churches. And when we went to this church in this Seventh-day Adventist church, one of the friends said, "Oh, you might like Newbold, because it's fun. Yeah, they have really good program for young people. So you might actually like it, and you might actually meet someone of your own, country as well. So why don't you give it a go?" So me and Spase, we were in Reading, and I said, okay, let's go then. It's not very far from Reading anyways. In Bracknell, we took a train, and then I had no idea that from train station to Bracknell or to Newbold was quite far. So we walked and walked and walked. We didn't go like the shortcut. We went around, all the way to, the pub and everything. Yeah, we went around, and we were walking and walking. Where on earth is this Newbold church? We walked and walked and walked. After 2 hours, when we went in the church, everything was closed. The place was totally empty. So we were sitting in one of the family housing benches, not near family housing. The football, just near there was benches, and we were just sitting, and I said to Spase, "Honey, Spase, why did you bring me here so far? And I'm so hungry, I'm frustrated, I'm really, really hungry." And then he was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be fine." And we were just sitting down, enjoying the nature. And one lady walks in, one lady just comes, and then she was like, "Oh, hi guys, where do you come from?" And I said, "Well, we come from Reading, and we came to visit, but it's finished." And she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry about that." And she's, afterwards what she said, "Are you hungry?" And Spase was like, no, we are fine, thank you. We're absolutely fine, don't worry about us, just okay, thank you. It was nice meeting with you." And I elbowed him like this, and I said, and he was like, "Oh yeah, food would be nice." So she was so kind. She invited in her house. She was living in family housing then. So we went in, and she fixed really nice meal for us. And she said, "Oh," and I saw I asked, "What's this?" And she said, "Sausages." And I said, "Oh wow, that time I was vegetarian." And I said, "Oh, I'm vegetarian." And she said, "Oh, don't worry, this is vegan. This is vegan sausages." And I was like, "You can find vegan sausages? That's interesting." So that was the first time I had. So during that time, her husband was studying masters to become a pastor. So he was studying his masters in divinity. Yes. So that day he wasn't at home. He went somewhere to do the presentation for Muslims. So do you want to bring me another slide? So this is the family I met. I don't know if you know, guys. So he is now a director of a general conference. His name is Petros Bahadur, from Pakistan, originally from Pakistan. He is now director of Adventist Muslim Relation. So he works for general conference. And this is his lovely wife. So this is who we met then. And so we didn't met Petros then, but I gave my number to his wife. I forgot his wife's name, sorry. And he then a couple of days afterwards, he called me and he said, "Hi, my wife told me about you and your friend. We have some program going on in London. His name is Dr. Pandit. He's from America. He did his research in religion, and he was Hindu as well. Now he's going to do the presentation on what he found out about religion in overall." And I was really excited, and I was like, "Wow, okay, yeah, sure." And he said, "I will personally come and give you an invitation." And I was like, "He's gonna personally come and give me an invitation?" And he said, "Usually it's free of charge. You don't have to worry about entrance fee or anything like that. This is for free again." So and he said, "There's going to be Asian food and everything, so just come along. And I said, I said, yeah, well, yes, sure. So he visited me, and he met my landlady. She was Pakistani, so they sort of share the same background, and he prayed for her. It was lovely. And I shared to Spasi that some Petrus, his wife, the wife of Petrus whom we met, now he's coming to he came to give us invitation, and would you like to come? And she was like, yes, of course, let's go. So we went, and this was the seminar we attended. Dr. Pandit, he was Hindu, and he one day he just decided, I don't know what happened to him, but he just shut himself up. And he thought, this family thought that he's gone, he's got some problem with mental health or something like that. Now he is shutting himself up. I have no idea why. So his family was really worried about him. But what he was doing was he was researching about religion and about God. And he just wanted to find the truth, the universal truth. So he just wanted to find that. And yeah, that's his wife was there as well, Petra's wife. We met there. It was the whole day seminar, and I felt like, I can't believe it, the puzzles are, things are making sense. And at the end, he found out that he respected all the religion, Hindu, Muslims, and every religion. He respected all of them. At the end, he said, the only way to know God is through Jesus, and no one else. Only way is through Jesus, no one else. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me. That was something that really touched my heart, and it was really nice. It was really nice, nice experience there. And after that, I went home. In the Pakistani house where I was living, there was one girl. She just recently came from Pakistan as well. She was studying in Reading University. She was supposed to study in Reading University, masters in banking. So she became a really good friend of mine. After, we used to have discussions about God and things like that as well. And one day she asked me, what do you do when somebody dies in your country? And I said, well, the dead body is in between the logs, and it gets burned, and obviously there's a ceremony, and the family members are watching, and I shared that, and she was so scared, and she said, oh no, this is not how it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to bury. People supposed to get buried. This is not how it's supposed to happen, Deepa. It's not right. What is your country doing? And she said, what's gonna happen in Day of Judgment when Jesus is gonna come, and the dead body is gonna be resurrected from the grave. This is how it's supposed to be. And I just literally freaked out, and I was like, there's gonna be a Day of Judgment, and there's gonna be Jesus coming. And next time when Spasi visited, I said, well, clear me out here. What is going on? And so we read a book of Revelation, but they were very complicated stuff in the beginning. We couldn't understand, obviously, but then the easy part at the end we read. And after the presentation, I went to Faiza. Her name was Faiza, a really lovely friend. After the presentation of Dr. Pandit, I said to her, that's what he told us. He said, the only way that we can know God is through Jesus. Do you know that? And I thought she was in agreement with Jesus because she said Jesus is coming. So I didn't know the other things behind the, other complications. And she said, no, you're supposed to, it has to be Muhammad, and there's now argument between Muhammad and Jesus. So I said, and I don't know, but I was actually defending Jesus, and I said, Faiza, you told me a couple of days ago that, Jesus is coming to judge us in the Day of Judgment, and why are you saying now that, we should follow Muhammad? It just doesn't make sense. We have to follow what is right? And she was like, not happy with me. She felt totally offended. and we didn't speak to each other for like, I don't know, a couple of days or so. And in the same place where I was staying, another girl came to stay in our place. Her name was Barbara. She was from Ghana, and I see her getting dressed every single Saturday and going somewhere. And I asked her, where do you go every Saturday? You get really nicely dressed and you look very happy. And she said, oh, I go to church on Saturday. And I said, wow, really? Yeah, we have a church not very far away from here. We could just go walking distance. And I said, wow, can I come with you? And then I said, can I come with you? And she was so happy. She was like, you want to come to church with me? Of course. And she made sure that Saturday that her uncle comes to pick us up. And I said to Spase, oh yeah, Barbara, she goes to church. Why don't we go with her? No, I think it would be a nice experience, some fun experience, that we are always looking for. And that day, Barbara made sure that her uncle comes to pick us up in his car, make sure that we actually go to church, because she was worried that on our way we might just say no, and or we are busy or something. So she was worried. So we went to the church, and I cannot believe it, like a big hall with almost 200 people, and full of Ghanaians, because it was Ghana church, right? Full of Ghanaians, and we felt like me and Spasi, we are like a foreigner in Ghana land. Amazing experience. They were so loving and so caring, and interesting thing was the pastor there was doing the seminar on health, and it was really nice, and I was really into health, and I was really excited to hear his message. And they even brought food at the end of the service, like really nice big portion of food, and I was like, wow, is this gonna happen every single Saturday? I would definitely come. And they were like, yes, yeah, are you gonna come next Saturday? We're gonna have this program and we're gonna have this fun. And then I was working Saturday, but that Saturday I wasn't working, so I went to church, but the other Saturdays I was. So I told my manager, can I, instead of going to church instead of Sunday, can you somehow adjust me to go to have leave on Saturday? So we made sure that we went in Ghana church there every single Sabbath. And first few weeks was like, for me, familiarizing myself with the new environment, with Ghanaian culture, and because everything that they do there is all Ghanaian, like dancing and music and language and everything. So food and all that, it was amazing. So I was just like, wow, God has a very funny sense of humor, right? and from Nepal, and a very like conservative, and now you're here in this almost Ghana land. So it was amazing experience for me. And so 2007 we went, and 2008 we got baptized. May 2008 we got baptized. Like, what? When we went there, we started to do in-depth study with the pastor, and he would come in our place where I would ask, pastor's coming, so he would come into our place to visit, and then we would have Bible study, and the questions and everything, it was all from the Bible. And I felt like, I have visited many churches, but I felt like this church has something special, because they wanted to live the Bible, and including the Sabbath and everything. And I was so much more attracted by the way how they they do everything through the Bible. And 2008 May we got baptized together with Fase, and we were in Ghana church up until 2017, learning, and I felt like I was born in Ghana church, and obviously I was born in Ghana church, and I raised up in it, and I feel like I was almost Ghanaian, half Ghanaian. Now, I felt like all that way God was just watching me, and the funny thing was, God was watching me all that while, and I did not know that He was paving my path, and He was giving me desires in my heart. I had no idea where those desires came from, and people that I met on my way, I had literally no idea, but it was actually God who was performing all of that. You know, I came to understand God, know Jesus, when I was 21 years old. You know, it took me 21 years old. When I was in that country, I had no association with Christians, but when I came, things moved on very fast. And 21 years old, I became Christian. And you know, all these young people who say that, you know, oh, you had a very rich experience because you were born into different background and you found God and you have a very rich experience, whereas it limits us because we were born into, you know, Christian family, Adventist family, and we are not having the same kind of experience, same kind of faith that you have. And actually, you know, that is the blessing that God blesses us so much. And it is a privilege. It is absolutely privilege to be able to be born into the family that, you know, God originally wanted it. You know, like to be able to be raised in a healthy Christian household is a blessing from God. It is absolutely a blessing from God, and it is a very bad idea when young people say, oh no, I'm gonna go into the world and experience all those things and see what life brings out to me, you know, and this is how I will know God, right? And that's the way, that's the way. But in fact, my life journey was different, my experience was different because I didn't know God. And God was bringing me out through the experiences and brought me into His family. But because you know God already, and you know you know God since you were small, and you've gone to church and everything. And it becomes worse when you leave the church. It becomes really worse when you leave, because where you started, I don't know, somewhere in Paul, I think Paul or someone says something about like, it's even worse when you go out of the church than you first known, or something like, I don't know, maybe I'll come back to it, sorry about that. But it is a very bad idea to leave the church. And also, you know, the enemy is like a roaring lion to whom he may devour, and once you come out, once you step out, you don't know where your feet is going to end up, you don't know what's going to happen to you, you have absolutely no idea. You know, I had a really good values, my parents gave me good values, and I had different kind of heart. I was asking questions about life and things like that. My experience was different, but I could have just gone with the girls, you know, and I could have had a completely different experience and could have really damaged myself so much that I could not continue to stay in UK and have to go back really damaged. You know, it could have happened mentally, physically, psychologically, emotionally, everything. It could have happened, but it didn't happen. But you know, when you go out, you have to be, you need to understand that the world, people have experienced it. And you don't need to experience yourself, because people have already experienced and you can learn from other people's experience, right? So another thing I think is, you know, wherever you go, you know, it's important that we talk about God. See, my life is a journey, and it was all people, you know, a little bit of thing in one place and the other. If people didn't tell me anything about God or prayer or, you know, or anything like that, even God used people from Muslim like background to understand about prayer, to understand about the Day of Judgment, or you know, Jesus is gonna come and all that. See, God uses everyone, and God wants to really use us in a special way. So whenever we have opportunity, we just really need to share a little bit. It doesn't have to be like, oh wow, you know, I want to get you baptized or anything. Just a small thing that really connects. And God just makes it possible, and you don't know what will happen at the end. And so I chose to follow God, and that was the most amazing and most important decision that I made in my life, and I have never ever regretted it. And being in this family has been absolutely blessing. I just wanted to leave you with with my favorite Christian author, Ellen White, who talks about, would you like to? Christ sought to teach the grand truth so needful for us to learn that God is always with us, an inmate of every dwelling, that he is acquainted with every action performed on earth. He knows the thoughts that are framed in the mind and endorsed by the soul. He hears every word that falls from the lips of human beings. He is walking and working in the midst of all our transactions in life. He knows every plan and he measures every method. And don't you think that my life is not, you know, where I am at is not by chance, it is calculated. We just need to be open and surrender our life to God. And if you haven't, I plead you to do so. Amen.
Amen. Amen.